Morning. How are you?
Good morning, Wendy. I'm good. How are you?
It's our last Wednesday together.
So sad.
Oh, I'm gonna miss you on Wednesday mornings.
Miss you guys too. It's been such a nice experience.
It has. It's really worked out well. I'm gonna step out for 1 minute and grab something from the printer.
No problem.
I'll be right back.
See you soon. Good morning. Oh, I think you're on mute. I, can you hear me? You can hear me.
Okay.
You guys starting to get kind of busy-ish in the fall here, Wendy, or
Crazy busy. Yes.
things starting to really ramp up?
Yes, ma'am.
You guys have schools in session or not there?
Some schools are in session, most are virtual.
Right, right. I read about the fire on your University of Delaware campus at the Chabad house.
Yes.
Pretty.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jordan. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
Fine,
Jordan, I'm
thank you.
disappointed you weren't the first one today.
I know. I let everyone down, what can I say?
You're still early, so.
So do they think it was arson for sure, or
They are calling it
It was,
arson. Yeah.
ugh,
yeah, I spoke with Rabbi Vogel yesterday, and as of now, it's arson. As a matter of fact, there was another one recently. They suspect a serial arsonist because there was actually a third fire recently there. So it's being investigated. Hopefully, it's not a hate crime. That's all we
I
can.
was just gonna say, so oh my gosh.
You don't think he doesn't want to say,
Right.
you know, but thankfully they've raised. If you go onto the GoFundMe site that they set up in 5 days, they raised $500,000 already, and that's just what came through GoFundMe, let alone donations directly to Chabad. So it's been an outpouring from all over the world, actually.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Well, I'm happy to hear about the response, but of course
yeah.
was deeply troubled to read. It didn't really make the news here at all. I read about it on Twitter, strangely, but
That's funny because it was in like national and international news for.
oh yeah, I should
Uh,
mention I don't have
Yeah.
school or childcare.
I got you.
They're having Shabbos dinner this Friday in the backyard there on the property. So
Fantastic.
they,
No, I mean, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, and good for them. And
yeah,
it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of it's not, if it's not a hate crime, but it is arson, it's sort of a different type of,
it's a different flavor, but it's still a person. Any person that starts a fire intentionally. Uh,
is a hate crime, right? I mean, it
it's
is,
hate.
right?
Yeah, you've
Yeah,
got anger. There's something
yeah,
wrong, obviously, that you're trying to tell society that, hey, you're not happy or you're not stable, at least.
right, right. No,
I
for
don't.
sure, for sure.
Yeah,
Very sorry to hear it.
yeah.
We have, I think, Lydia on, but she can hear us, but we can't hear her. But that's okay because, well, it's not really okay. I want to say good morning to you, but as long as you can hear me saying good morning to you. What else is going on there in Delaware that we should know about? Cases down, spike is simmer.
I haven't been following that, to be honest
Hmm.
with you.
The hospitalizations and number of positive cases have slightly increased this week, The deaths are down, so that's good.
Good.
But then they just announced they're reopening bar seating at the beach and all that this weekend, right before the
Why?
Are you
um,
serious, Wendy? Are you
which
serious?
which they did right before Memorial Day, and
Oh,
then
that's a disaster.
Disaster.
That's a
every
disaster.
had to shut down.
I
So
just saw Dr. Fauci on the news this morning as I was making coffee, and he really said, how this weekend is handled will determine how we,
I know
how we fare in the
Oh, wow.
fall. And I
I was
just can't believe
I
what
was
you're
very
saying.
shocked after because when they did that over Memorial Day, they ended up having to shut down almost all of the businesses for huge outbreaks. So I don't know what they're
Mm.
thinking.
Now, my grandson in Israel, well, he's the oldest of the three, started first grade the other day. So K through 2 in person, almost a full day. I think they cut it by an hour and a half each day, so I guess it's not a full day. Then, like the third, fourth, and fifth graders, they'll have them segregated, social distanced a little. And as they get older, there's more restrictions. But
Yeah.
they went back to school. As a matter of fact, I will show this to you. So we have a tradition in our family. You
Oh,
hold up
so
a finger
cute.
for your grade. Because I remember both my boys did it each day before they went to Einstein on first day. They'd hold up the finger
Adorable.
for what grade they were in.
Adorable. Oh my gosh. I
Now
do not
everybody,
have any such pictures.
well, because they're all at home now, right?
They're all just right outside my door. Yeah. Good
What
morning,
what
Susan.
age are your boys, Kelly?
They are 9 and 10.
Okay. And
And
when's the
yeah,
dog coming?
the dog is coming
Sure.
sometime between the 25th and the 28th, So we're just
What
raring
kind
to
of dog?
go.
What kind of dog?
It is a black lab.
Ooh.
But I am going to have another female in the house, so that'll be nice. I'm totally outnumbered. Totally outnumbered. But you know what? We're excited. I think it would just be great to have like a little balance, like a little school.
Yeah.
We're supposed to go hybrid on October 1st,
Okay.
and remote does start, but not till September 15th. They even delayed that. So we are, we are really deep in negotiations with the teachers union.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just tough. It's, tough all around for everyone. So hopefully we're getting somewhere.
No.
And I'm kind of arranging everybody on my screen here so I can see. There we go.
Okay.
Terrific.
Hard to believe the Jewish holidays are going to be around the corner, right?
Yeah.
Really is.
Hi, Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Good morning, Robin.
Yeah, just around the corner is right.
Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to get you to the bottom of my screen here. Okay. Wonder why this is. Sorry, everyone. Just give me one moment here. There we go. Fantastic. All right. Usually we have kind of a half house by now.
I don't know what's going on.
People are sleeping in. I mean, that's got to be it.
I was up early today, so that was not it for me, that's for sure.
Jordan, do you ever sleep in? Let's be honest.
You know, I used to be one of those people that on weekends I could sleep till 9 or 9:30, and you know, I could sleep till lunchtime if I really had to. But I guess as you get older, you don't need as much sleep. So I find
Yeah.
myself wide awake earlier and earlier.
Good morning, Max. Good morning, Gloria.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
I didn't put my video on yet because I'm eating my cereal.
Well, you can eat your cereal with us.
It's
Come
breakfast
on.
time. That's okay.
I don't want to make you
Yeah.
I don't want to make you jealous.
Hi, Carol.
Hi, Carol.
We
Good
can't
morning,
see you,
Carol.
But
Oh, no, we
yourself
can't
off.
yet.
Take yourself off mute, Carol. I'm not used to you being mute.
Good morning, everyone.
morning.
We turned the news off.
Yeah.
There we go. That's better. How is everybody?
Thank God.
Great. How are you?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, that seems to be the way these days, huh?
Hmm.
Jordan, how are your grandchildren?
I was just showing a picture. Gabrielle started first grade yesterday.
Wow.
You might have seen, well, you're on Facebook with me, aren't you?
You know what? I have not been on social media.
Okay, well, in that case, I'm gonna show it to you.
Oh my gosh.
First grade,
So cute.
getting ready to go on the bus.
Good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
How's everyone in your family, Carol?
Good. Everybody's doing
Kids?
really well. We're kind of all living under one roof right now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
I'll say that's good. Question mark?
Good morning, Sherry.
Yeah, it's good. It's all good.
Good.
Carol, I want to hear more about that later.
And Harriet, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Richard.
Good morning.
Morning, Richard. Hi, Ellen.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
Hi.
Good morning, Michael. I hope you guys are really excited for this today because good one. I'm telling you, I feel a little bit low Delaware energy. No, should we get up? Should we do like some stretches? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Everybody just stretch, get some energy.
If we could
We are
do this
ready.
at 8 o'clock Pacific time, it would be much easier.
Oh,
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Everything would be easier for me on Pacific time.
Oh, yeah.
Precisely. Everybody get their coffee.
Not yet. I'll get it.
Just can't do this stuff without it.
Yeah.
I just learned the other day that there is something, if you go into participants, there is, and you go into more at the bottom,
Yeah.
there is something that you can put up there that says, like, I've gone to get coffee. I just found that out, and I don't know if it appears on your.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I see that.
And so,
Gone to get
so
thumbs up.
now, literally, it's there. So, I'm taking it off, but
Good morning, Susan.
Thumbs
Is
up.
there anything that says I've gone to get a martini? Just wondering.
No, but there should be. Well, there's a clock that means I'm away. There's a little clock. I'm away.
Yeah, but it only appears after 5 o'clock.
Well, the coffee is need a break. Says need a break.
Exactly.
But you know, on Microsoft Teams, you can actually, there's a thing for the participants, so you can actually have them like seating. Everyone's picture will be like they're sitting stadium style.
Oh, geez.
In
Yeah.
seats. It's really
Good morning,
cool.
Russ.
Good morning.
But anyway, so if you need a break, it has, one aspect of coffee or another. You could put up the coffee cup.
Guys,
Love it.
you don't need a break yet. We haven't even started.
I had 6 hours of Zoom meetings on Monday, followed by a non-Zoom conference call, and then 3 hours of a Zoom meeting, followed by a 1-hour conference call yesterday. So should have bought stock in Zoom.
Morning, Megan.
I had
Good morning,
five
Pasha.
Zooms last week on Wednesday. I had 5 Zooms. I'm not working.
Oh, yes, you are.
And you still had
I retired at the end of May, and I had 5 Zooms last Wednesday, and I don't know.
I mean, on mute, can you tell them I say hello?
I don't.
That's what you thought. You thought you were tired.
Hi,
but-
keep comic book club.
It's okay. Okay, you're all set for Art Pod.
Ooh, it's a lot pod.
So there's only 3 to 5 kids, so it's a small class. So it's gonna be like,
Oh, it won't have many kids. So it
no,
won't be really crowded
no, it's
and uncomfortable.
no, it's
because there's way too many people.
what I think it'll allow you to focus on, Tessa, is that it'll really allow you to focus on work. So we're just gonna have to make sure we get help. You're gonna need to have a whole bunch of supplies for it. But yeah, so you're gonna be all set. You're gonna take the Art Pod.
Here they have
Hey, Jen.
and
Jen, do you want us to be hearing all this?
Good morning.
and staircases.
Good morning, everyone.
morning.
I
Oh,
Tess.
why am I so crazy? And the book fair.
Morning,
Mom,
Bob.
they have a book fair.
I'm very excited for you.
Oh my gosh, I love this game.
Good morning, Sandy. I think we have someone who might need to mute.
Yes, Steinberg. Jen.
Yes, I
Oh,
like
sorry.
catapult.
All right, we're gonna wait 1 minute and get started.
Terrific. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So nice to see everyone. This is my last morning with you guys, but I'm really going to just show up every Wednesday because I'll miss you. It's been so nice to be in Delaware for 3 weeks.
Well, we hope we can actually bring you here soon.
Oh my gosh, guys, that would be fantastic. It's just really different over,
Yeah.
Zoom. It's still good, right? It's still effective. We know this. It's just different.
Hey, Rev.
Just different. Good morning, Alan. It's nice to see you.
Same here, Kelly.
Morning, Alan.
Oh, yeah. There's Harriet and Rich. I feel like I've got my old friends back.
Okay,
Lovely.
8:03. So we're gonna get
Good morning.
started.
Okay, let's do it.
Good morning. Happy September. I can't believe it's September myself. But that's another whole issue. Happy to see everyone here. Thank you all. If you are not on mute, please mute yourself so we don't get a lot of background noise. I'm admitting people while I'm talking, so excuse me for being distracted. Okay, so this is our last session with Kelly. I don't know if there's anyone brand new that hasn't participated in either of the 2 previous sessions. But just a quick review. If you could keep yourself on mute unless you wish to speak, and then put a little note in the chat and we will call on you to speak if you have a question. There will also be time at the end for question and answer. And I think the feedback that we've gotten from these sessions has been really great. I think it's been wonderful to all be together, even if it's on Zoom, and to learn together and share our challenges, our opportunities, and what we're all working on going forward. And we've been thrilled to have with us our consultant, Kelly Siegel from the Boston area. Kelly has her own consulting company. And sorry, I keep admitting people, so I'm a little distracted. And she has been a strategic leader within the nonprofit world for over 25 years. She's worked in community federations, higher learning institutions, social justice nonprofits, educational alliances, and political advocacy organizations. I know that some of you stayed on the Zoom after last session and were able to have some conversations and ask questions of Kelly. And I know, Kelly, that we are also appreciative of your expertise and your leadership and your advice. And it's what we all need right now. So at this point, I would like to welcome Kelly and thank you so much for your time the last 3 weeks. And we really do hope to bring you in person sometime soon.
Well, thanks, Wendy. It is my pleasure, and I've loved it. And thank you so much for having me every week. I'm going to miss you guys. I feel like we really are building community. I kind of feel like I'm part of your community. I love that. Let's get going. We have so much to talk about today. I'm really excited for what we are going to accomplish today. This session is the role of board members as ambassadors, fundraisers, and fundraisers. And this is really about fulfilling our strategic plans and how we do that. So I put a slide up here, and I bet most of you recognize this. What this is, Where the Wild Things Are, by the absolutely fabulous Maurice Sendak, who is a children's author and illustrator. And I was listening recently to an NPR interview from a few years ago, obviously, and he told a story, and it really reminded me of this work. So I'm actually going to read you just a brief quote of what he said on NPR. Once a little boy sent me a charming card with a little drawing on it. I loved it. I answer all my children's letters, sometimes very hastily, but this one I lingered over. I sent him a card and I drew a picture of a wild thing on it. I wrote, "Dear Jim, I loved your card." Then I got a letter back from his mother and she said, "Jim loved your card so much, he ate it." That to me was one of the highest compliments I've ever received. He didn't care that it was an original Maurice Sendak drawing or anything. He saw it, he loved it, he ate it. So I love this story so much. The notion that you're just so into it, you love it so much that you just have to consume it, right? And that's actually my aspiration for this piece of work today, for how we represent as board members our organizations that do such important work that sustain our community. And we're going to talk about a lot about that kind of energy and that kind of, how we show up for this work that we're so committed to. So let's talk about our goals for today. The first session that I did was on board member roles and responsibilities. The second session talked about culture change and how to lead in the new normal, which we talked about, was really back to the basics to get through this time and to really build through this time. And today we're going to step a little bit further out of the boardroom and talk about how we do incredible forward moving work, not in spite of the pandemic, but just actual incredible forward moving work that we needed to be doing anyway. We're going to talk about real virtual community building, which is a real thing. And I think we've felt it. I felt it on these last 3 sessions. I felt actually the community building that we've done, even just attending these trainings. So I know it works. I know it works. We're going to talk about tools for effective ambassadorship and ambassadors as the path to donor-based expansion, which is really how we nurture and support our strategic plans this year. Okay, so I've made this into kind of a fun accordion shape, which we can do in PowerPoint with the touch of a button. So, you know, why not? But really, guys, you've seen this before. What is this? This is the pipeline. This is what our organizations need to be strong and sustainable. We all started here, right? We all started as members or participants or volunteers. And then we moved to ambassadors and fundraisers, right? We started telling our friends, we started really getting into it. We started attending more or participating more. We then became cultivators, solicitors, some of us, and stewards, right, of people coming through the pipeline. And eventually we ended up as donors, or I like to call them investors, board members, and leadership. You all are on the boards of your organization. Some of you are chair of the boards. So this is, you know, the pipeline. And what we really want to talk about is how we move other people through the pipeline now without in-person gatherings, which is absolutely possible, sometimes even more so now. So I want to spend a little time on what we don't have. You guys can all read that. We know what we don't have. We're really familiar with that, all of the in-person opportunities. One thing that I'm focusing on here are something we don't have, but we actually do have. We don't have the in-person leadership engagement opportunities. And that's what I'm going to really talk about today in the face-to-face recruitment, right? And instead we have all of these things that we can do virtually, right? Which you can see those things on the right. And because we are virtual, again, I'm going to talk a little bit about how we show up for these things. You've heard me say that a lot, right? How we show up. And, you know, I sort of want to reference the Albert and Harabian philosophy from the 1970s. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about it. It is tried and true in organizational training, in business training. It's the 738-55 rule. Okay, and I love this because it supports my whole theory, which is that 38% of building trust and credibility in an organization or a business comes from your tone and tenor. 38%. 55% of trust and credibility is built through body language and the energy that you exude. So that means only 7% of trust and credibility in an organization or a business is actually about content. So what are we saying here? We're kind of saying like we could be talking about anything and it doesn't matter what our programs are about, but of course that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that 93% of trust and credibility comes from how we talk about, you know, the things that we're passionate about, how we talk about our organization, how we represent our organization, how we show up. And the audio needs to match the video, right? So if we are doing virtual events, we're going to talk about this in a minute, you know, we can't sort of sink back and say, sorry, this is virtual, but thank you for coming. I'm so happy you're here. You know, we have to get out there. We have to be excited. We have to be enthusiastic, because my message today is, yes, there is what we don't have, but what we do have, and I'm going to say this a couple of times, isn't going away, all right? We need to keep this going on post-pandemic anyway. So much of this should have been happening anyway. So in a lot of ways, this virtual exercise is working in our favor in that we're able to focus on it wholly in a time where we can't gather in person. Okay, so how does this work? I want to talk a little bit about the fact that virtual event chairs and committees give us a number of things. How do we do this, right? This is what I am seeing working now. Guys, you can quote me on this, but I am seeing this work a little bit better than I sometimes see it work in person. Maybe it's a renewed sort of energy, people feeling determined, we want to make this work, we want this to work this year, but I am seeing this work really, really well. Okay, so having a virtual program or event, regardless of what it is, with co-chairs or chair, co-chairs leadership, and or a committee. First of all, it's giving you name recognition, right? People are looking at a flyer that they see on social media or that they see, over email, however they receive it, however it gets to them, and they're seeing names on there as virtual leadership and a virtual committee. There's name recognition there. And we all know that relationships increase participation. So if you are having a program in your organization and it is a cultural program about, let's say, cuisine or food, which we're going to see later, and you see that there are people on it that are really interested in this and they have credibility in this field, you're going to maybe say, I'm going to participate. I'm going to see what this is all about. Right? And we also need those things as leadership engagement opportunities that we're missing because we don't have, people who are chairing events and sitting up on the dais and doing all of those things. There is a place for that here. And there's actually a job description. So it's not just saying, well, I'll slap my name on it or, us saying as boards, who can we get to put their name on it? Not at all. Not at all. We have roles for these people. We have job descriptions. So what we want is, our lay leaders to do welcome, to do wrap-ups. We want people to publicize on their personal social media, include registration links so people can sign up when they see it on their Instagram or on their Facebook. We want to give virtual event chairs and virtual events or programs. It's kind of the same thing, but you know what I'm talking about. It's either smaller or sort of larger. Give them a recruitment goal. Bring two people. Ask them to attend. And then there is that job of following up and asking them what they thought of the program and to give feedback. Follow up in person or virtually is the most neglected piece of program planning and the most important. Not only does it connect you to your constituents and give you an organic opportunity to connect, but it makes participants know, not only feel, but know that they have a stake in what's being offered and how community is being built, right? And it's one of the most powerful engagement opportunities because, as I mentioned, it is authentic. We need the feedback. We need to know what our community wants to see and their opinion on how it's being delivered. Just to kind of bring this home, right? People don't trust institutions. We know people trust people. They trust their experiences. This is word of mouth, right? They trust the experiences of their friends. They love reviews, testimonials, not websites. So anywhere that you can highlight someone talking about, what you're doing or how you're doing it, that is going to have an impact that's far greater than just, sending out a blanket email or offering it. Add personal quotes to flyers or to invitations, virtual flyers, virtual invitations. Have people review. I saw this person present, and this is what I thought. There are so many places to post these things now, and it's really, really important to have good word of mouth marketing. All right, I am picking on this program, but only because I love it. All right, only because I love it. I could have used any program or event. I used this one. I asked Wendy to send me something that was happening in your community. She sent me a choice of 3. And this is a really fabulous one. So I hope you don't mind that I'm using it as an example. So I looked at this, something that I think would definitely take off in many of the communities that I work with, right? And I asked myself, and this could already be happening, but I'm just using this as an example. Could this event have a chair or co-chairs, right? And could they be listed on this, what I'm calling a flyer? Could this have a small host committee where before the event, they're charged with recruiting 2, 3, 4, however many make sense, participants to attend. And then afterward, they would be called by the committee to see, connected with, called or emailed, like it does any way to connect, texted, whatever it is, to see what they thought of the program. What was their experience like? Would they like to see more of this? Is there a fundraising goal? I'm going to get back to that because I know this is loaded. And this program is not about fundraising per se. It also gives you an opportunity to send out a survey as an organization to everyone who attended, right? What virtual programming would you like to see? Would you like to be added to our mailing list? It's an engagement opportunity that is really, really working, and people are more likely. They are sitting in front of their computers. They are responding to these surveys. I think there's a couple of things to also note here that, I think I mentioned this in a session before, but virtual programming is allowing your organization to reach people, new people who may not have been participating in in-person events, may not have been able to participate when things were in person, when they had to drive to get there necessarily. We are actually, with this virtual programming, we are casting a broader net, right? We are actually being more inclusive as a community and giving ourselves the opportunity to meaningfully connect person to person, and maybe an even more effective way. So also virtual programming, I have talked to a lot of people who feels that it serves to eliminate a social anxiety piece that's there for a lot of people, exists for many people. So there are people participating virtually who might never have attended in person. Guys, we want to get this right, because virtual work does not end post-pandemic. Yes, we're gonna do less of it. We're gonna bring people together. We're gonna be so happy to be able to do that, but we need to be doing this also. So this isn't something that expires. We work on this now to keep it going, right? To keep this as an offering, to keep it as a revenue stream. So important. So I want to go back to that fundraising piece just for a second. This is from an organization that exists here, and it's one that I think has done an incredible job. I bring it up a lot because it's an art organization that was entirely in person. They are only 3 years old. They really didn't have the technology to go virtual in a way that some of your organizations did. So I've also seen them go virtual and raise way more money than they ever did, include way more people than they were ever able to from all over the country. And what I've loved is when they do a live program, an artist interview. They also do a lot of cultural programs. They've featured, a number of chefs from Israel to all over the world, actually. They just do this at the end, and it says, J-Arts brings you programming at no cost. Simply, we cannot exist without your support. And I love this donate button for some reason. They're kind of a cheeky kind of organization. I love that they just say please with an exclamation point. And I have to tell you, almost everybody attending their virtual programs is clicking on that button. And they're not giving their regular annual gift that way. They're getting a lot of new donors to the organization, new support. And people are hitting the button and they're giving whether $25, $50, $100 just to say thanks for that program. So it is really, really working. And also, if you have somebody who has never given before and they end up giving $100, let's say, or any amount after a virtual program, it's a much more targeted way of, connecting with someone and saying, I noticed that you experienced us for the first time. Can you give us some feedback? What are you thinking? To really bring them into that pipeline and say, we hope you'll join us again, find out who they are. This is an organization that had 2,000 people every year come to a candle lighting at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. But this is turning out to be a much more, again, targeted and meaningful way to connect to people who are participating for the first time. So it's really working. And this is what I mean when I talk about donor-based expansion and database expansion through virtual programming. So we talk about opportunities for outreach and for making connections externally. And I would love to hear in the chat box if there are any of you who have figured out a way to connect with people that is working, already gaining traction within your organization to make connections externally using the tools that we have right now. I would love, love, love to hear from any of you. Opening up the chat here. Okay, I'm seeing people say that they are using, oh, right, Instagram. That's another good one. They're using Instagram. They're putting videos on Instagram to reach people, and also connecting. Facebook Live. This is one I mentioned last week that I love. Facebook Live gets a lot of participation. That is really one to look into for your organization. People are really familiar, really of all age groups, they are getting really familiar with Facebook, and it's something that can work and something that I frequently leave off lists and have to remember to put back on lists because it is extremely effective. Okay, so let's talk about inReach, which means actually being ambassadors for people who are already connected. And you may say, like, why do we have to be ambassadors? Why do we have to reach out to people who are already here? Guys, it's all about that pipeline movement. If you're already here, you want deeper engagement. You want to really enhance the welcoming. You want to retain these people, right? And to, again, move through the pipeline, deeper engagement. If they're a volunteer, you want them to become an ambassador, word of mouth. You know, you want them to eventually, you know, hopefully become a fundraiser or a fundraiser, a donor themselves, and then leadership like you all are, right? None of you started here. I'm willing to bet that if very few of you started here, you moved your way through the pipeline. And this is how we have, you know, succession planning for our leadership. This is how we guarantee that we are creating sustainable organizations. So we want to more deeply engage those who are already here. Again, this is called inReach, in our mission and in the work that we do. Okay, so you are board members, right? We are dealing with board members for organizations across your community. So you have a responsibility. Ambassadorship is one of your main responsibilities. You know that you will get this on a PDF later after this, as Wendy always sends these out. But you want to just make sure that you are really actively promoting your mission, broadening the circle of support, those who know about or experiencing your organization, understanding the values of your programs and your services enough to, you know, come and participate. And you want people helping to fundraise, really, and to help you further your mission. So you must be an ambassador for your organization, even if your role on the board is a financial one, or your role on the board is something that is not as forward facing. You want to make sure that ambassadorship is happening, because donor base is happening. Donor base expansion and database expansion is happening now in a pretty rapid way. And that's because people are doing the work that they need to be doing as ambassadors. So guys, this is not a surprise. You have heard of this before. You have seen this before, right? The elevator pitch. I hate that. I hate that. I love stories so much more. It is the single most effective tool, whether as an ambassador or a fundraiser or a fundraiser, right? We all have a story. No one just got here. We weren't just beamed into our board position, right? There is something that happened. We each have a personal story. And what I will tell you is that just sort of knowing how you got there isn't enough, okay? We need to really take this and make an organized, short, succinct personal story and practice how we communicate our personal story, okay? Why do you care enough to be involved with your organization? What happened? What was your path through the pipeline? All right, what is your organization's shared purpose? What is the impact? You know, you really, really want to practice, write down, memorize, and have a good way of communicating your personal story. The application of your personal story in a virtual world is incredibly powerful. Doing it through video, right? People really aren't sending as many fundraising letters as they used to. They're sending emails with videos, people telling their personal story. Yesterday, I'm going to cite an example. My kids are involved in a sort of a golf program here, a place where they have taken clinics all summer, and I follow them on Instagram. And yesterday I saw a brief story of a dad talking about how his son couldn't really connect with team sports, was, you know, sort of looking for his thing, and how he found it here and what it meant to his son sort of developmentally. You know, I was crying after watching this Instagram video. He was so emotional. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this is it. You know, this is it. He is telling his story. And sometimes I feel in these trainings, I know what works and we practice what works, but when it catches you off guard, when you don't expect it, you know, you really, really know it works. I just thought, oh my God, sold. I'm there forever. They're doing such a great job. And I made sure my kids were signed up, you know, for the fall, and how far into the winter could we go. So you can tell your story on video, on social media, in breakout rooms, when you have virtual events. Just be ready to tell that story. Again, also known as the elevator pitch, but I prefer story. This is for your use. These are tools for you. I don't need to read these to you. These are things you can do individually, right? To be an ambassador for your organization. These are all things that you can do right now. And there's a bullet in here that says, share your story and learn other people's stories. I think more important than sharing your story is to actually ask people what their story is, how they got here, what they're interested in, and listen, right? I can tell you honestly, I have very rarely told my own story, because all you have to do, people want to tell their story. They want to share with you and they want to connect. So the minute that you ask is really, you know, the minute that you're learning so much about people, that informs your work and informs sort of why people are interested in your mission. And frankly, you might very rarely have to tell your story because you're too busy listening to someone else's story, which, you know, I really love, and I really think people want to connect that way. And I think we do far too much talking and not enough listening. And the best way to really connect is to listen. I know that we are on here with boards of many organizations and not just the Federation, but one of my favorite questions to ask when it comes to the Federation is, you know, what's your thing? Like, what is your thing? We do so much work here. What are you interested in? Why are you here? You know, is it Israel? Is it community services? Is it social action? What's your thing? You know, and that kind of elicits the story. You know, you hear about people's family, you hear about their history, you hear about their experiences, and it's remarkably effective. So you will have this list to refer to after this training, and here are a lot of, I think, great suggestions about how we can be effective ambassadors now. More tools, right? How do we bring this back to our boards? Okay, you are, you know, sitting on your boards, and I'm teaching you, you know, or you may know some of this, how to be effective ambassadors. But, you know, we really want to, as board chairs especially, to take this back to your board and to train your board, right? You could focus on one of these each month, or maybe you're having board meetings now twice a month because we're virtual and we know that we want to ramp up meetings. So I think that if you focus on one of these, each board meeting, you're really giving your board good training and you're teaching them how to be ambassadors for the organization. Personally, even before everything went virtual, before the pandemic, I do actually think that every board meeting should start with 2 people who've been forewarned, you know, no surprises here, not the Socratic method, to give their story, to tell their story, right? So it allows everybody on a board to get more acquainted with each other, but it also is this piece of practice, right? Where that person feels like I'm giving my story to the board, so I need to write it down, I need to memorize it, I need to make sure it's only 2 minutes long. And you know, you really just go around the room and you use your board meetings as training grounds, right? You've got to teach something at every board meeting. It's really, really important. If you have this active, attentive audience of your most dedicated, really ambassadors, volunteers, lay leaders, keep the training going. You can do this on your own, or you can call me for fun and we can talk about an exercise for you to do at your next board meeting to help up skills. I think it's a great opportunity to do that. Guys, this is not really a fundraising workshop, but it is, right? It is, because building relationships really is a direct pathway to donor base expansion, right? So I want to talk to you a little bit about the fact that being an ambassador or a friend raiser uses many of the same skills, which you know as being a fundraiser. And there are people that are on the board that say, I do this for my board, but I am not a fundraiser. Well, here's the thing. You actually are, because you're an ambassador, okay? And that's not saying you have to use the archaic term, close the card, right? You're not going to get sustainable dollars without relationships. So building relationships have to happen. That's how we deepen engagement, and that's how we raise more money, right? And this is also how we move people through the pipeline. So just by being a good ambassador, you are actually impacting the bottom line. This isn't really just a line, I am telling you. For people who do not feel comfortable fundraising, as they say, I actually have a joke with somebody, an executive director here, and our joke is that no matter how many fundraising positions she and I have held or how many dollars raised, the joke is that we've never asked for money. And I believe I've actually never asked for money, because it really should just be organic. I have built relationships, and I believe solidly in the theory that if you build relationships in the right way, you can count on people to do the right thing. And there's never an uncomfortable conversation about giving money. It is organic. You know, I also give a workshop that it may be a little strong, but I say, if it feels awkward, walk away. It's a fundraising workshop. If it's awkward, you haven't done the work of building the relationship. You have not done that important work, all right? And that work has to happen. Relationships are an organization's single most important asset. You know, everybody gets that wrong. When you ask them, what is your single most important asset? People say, yeah, it's our database, or it's this, or it's that, or it's this event. No, it's not. It's the relationships that you build and you continue to deepen, and you begin and then continue to deepen, and you move through the pipeline. And you know what? We're seeing the pipeline again. I'm going to show it to you again, not because I made a cool graphic on PowerPoint, but just because it's so important, right? This is what it means to be an ambassador now. And really, cultivators, solicitors, stewards, this is all the work of ambassadors. So 3 and 4, it's really 2, 3, and 4 are all together. You are fundraising when you're being an effective ambassador. And as I said, doing this virtually, learning to do this virtually is really so. We're going hybrid when we're able to meet in person again, right? We're not going to just go back to in person. We've got to remain hybrid because we are reaching more people this way, because we are casting an even wider net. So we want to get this down, and we want to do this right. Just more action items, because I always want to give you stuff that you can take away and actually use. You know, first, give early. If you are a board member, I'm making that plea, because you can't really talk to other people about their investment in your work until you have given at whatever, in whatever sort of, at whatever level you are most comfortable with. Be a door, be an ambassador, be easy access, use your story, help you develop cultivation strategies, talk about them at your board meeting, tell your stories at your board meeting, practice, create excitement, know the sense of need, know how you're communicating, work on that communication plan, practice talking to people, and you know what? Show up in the right way. Don't just log on. Show up and be excited, because as I said, this is not going away, right? So we want to be excited about this. I think the program for cooking for Rosh Hashanah is awesome. I think the turnout's going to be incredible. I think you're going to want to do that throughout the year even more, right? It's easy access. It's something people can connect to. So be mindful of how you show up and use your lay leadership. Give them leadership positions now. People want and need that kind of experience, and that's how we deepen engagements. And they're not standing up there on the dais and they're not welcoming people. Give them talking points, make them feel like a chair, a co-chair. Give your committee job descriptions on how we, how we use them as lay leaderships to help deepen connection to our mission. Really, really important stuff. Okay. So if I can open it up right now, this is the end of it. And I just want to say, what are things your board can do to be stronger ambassadors and foster a culture of ambassadorship? I really, really want to hear from you guys right now and see which of these things you think you can do, which of these things are possible for you to do, and what we can do to increase the participation and ambassadorship. Guys, I want you to write in. I want to see it. Okay, so Seth is saying we must embrace change and continually evolve our respective organizations to adapt to our ever-changing world. Our current environment is not going away in the near future, so it is critically important to be working collaboratively, leveraging resources, and putting an emphasis on relationship building is critical. We grow stronger together. That is your tagline. I love that tagline. I believe in that tagline. Okay, those of you who are on boards of synagogues, can you tell me about a way or certain ways that you're reaching people that you hadn't before? Educate people on all things we do so they don't think all we ever do is raise money. Couldn't agree more. And by the way, that's not what we do, right? That's what happens after we do the important work of what we do. Raising money happens because we do this, because people want to support this work. Right. Find out what motivates people. Find out, why they're here. Connect one-on-one. Do you think it's possible for you to have event committees and co-chairs? Do you think that's going to work for your organizations? Do you think people will do that virtually? Max, set up a telephone tree where each member of the board is assigned a section of the membership to call and become their representative. Okay, Max, I love that suggestion. Actually, it makes me think of an experience I had. I was sitting in a, socially distant backyard with 5 women, a birthday gathering, and something really interesting happened where a young woman, age 35, 3 kids, very, very busy. Kids are at the preschool at the temple, but not overly active or engaged in the synagogue. And she said, I'm out. I'm out. Nobody called us. Nobody called us during this whole pandemic just to see how we were doing. I'm alone here with 3 kids and no one called us. And I thought to myself, this is when you think you see the real life aspects of your training. First of all, I couldn't believe nobody had reached out, because that's all I felt like we were trying to do, was connect when things were really, really, when everyone was really in quarantine. But it was a real life example of somebody who I did not expect to care, thought to themselves, it would have been really nice for somebody to connect with us. Our kids are in school with the rabbi, you know, and no one reached out. Yeah, I just think to have an assigned person to a group of people, you can never go wrong. Important how to get the right tone to come through virtually and enhance connection, definitely. So here's an interesting one from Jordan. Organizations need to utilize past board members as much as current leadership, as they have institutional experience, institutional memory, and can act as a bridge for younger up and coming leaders by sharing their personal stories with them. So that gives me another idea. Can you connect a newcomer with somebody who has been a past board chair? You know, can you have small focus groups led by that past board chair and a professional? You know, can you sort of figure out ways to motivate newcomers by hearing the stories of people who have been involved for a really long time? That's great. I'm getting a ton of responses, which is really, really great. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask? I want to open it up, and I want to hear from you. You can put your name in the chat box, but I'd love to hear your voice. Talk to me, guys. I'd love to hear from you. Are you guys having lay leadership that is serving as that are fulfilling leadership roles in virtual programming, or not quite yet? Are you guys having virtual programs? Are we doing it? Are we are we doing it? Are we a little sleepy out there today? Federation is starting. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi. So I'm a president of a synagogue. Most of the programming that we've done virtually, we didn't want to overdo it. We didn't want to do too much of it.
Sure.
Because everybody we're like, this is not going anywhere. We're not going to go great guns right away. This is clearly
good job.
Pace ourselves. But I was just thinking, there's something this evening where there's, I guess she's lay. She's been teaching online classes. So there's been some online classes that have been taught by lay people. But most of our programming has been Torah study and services and things like that. And that's, I mean, we had one day where we had a lay leader do sub it for the cantor. But most of our programming has been done by the clergy so far. But we're getting a little bit in doing that. But there's a whole skill level of having people who are not in this day-to-day doing it. And even when it is something that's lay led, there needs to be staff and professionals behind it to make it all happen.
Just like you would in person. Yeah. You know, talking points, everything. We don't let any of that go. In fact, virtually,
I'm just thinking even the tech behind it was like, okay, how are we gonna have, and like, okay, so there's gonna be this program. Do we have somebody who can? Do we have somebody on the staff who can make sure the meeting starts, make sure everybody is fine, and not leave that up? Because we want it to be as good of a. Whereas, you know, in person, this person could probably do an in-person program. We just put them on the floor and run. They can't necessarily be as successful and run as good a program as a lay leader virtually as they could if we put them on the ground.
Yeah. Okay. So that is an incredibly important point, right? You can't leave anybody who is a volunteer to do the work of a professional, right? I even think in your Torah study or learning or whatever, you know, even for somebody to introduce the clergy or to talk about, you know, what you're going to be talking about today feels important to someone. But you're right, professional staff has to really be behind this. I never, ever recommend really anything without professional staff support. It's not fair to our volunteers and to our lay leadership to figure out how it's all really supposed to work even in person, but I know what you mean. In person, people can gather and do, a tourist study or what have you in person. And that can work, but virtually it is a different story. 100%. Thank you.
Kelly, I have a question.
Hi, Heidi. Oh, Hetty.
Hi.
Is it Hetty?
Hetty, right.
Hetty. Hi.
So I'm going to stigmatize myself by saying that I do not really participate in social media.
Yeah, sure.
And I am sure that I'm not the only person in this community who does not participate. So although it's extremely important to get the younger people involved to kind of replace ourselves, but there's still a huge community that does not participate. And how do we reach out to them to encourage them to participate in various events without the use of social media?
Okay, I love this question, and it is extremely important, right? Because what if you're not plugged in that way? So this is where you need professional staff to be incredibly organized and to create lists. And this, Max, I'm going to take your phone tree idea here, not just for check-in, but for actual connecting to invite and participation. They should be called. They should be called, and there are volunteers for everything. There are so many people not on social media because they don't want to be, or they can't, or, my mom suffers from Parkinson's and social media is hard for her, right? And so I think absolutely there needs to be a cohort, and their responsibility is that more direct, personal, give a call, invite. Maybe it's a text if that is something that is being done. But no, we cannot leave any group abandoned or isolated, for sure. And I don't think everybody needs to be connected to social media, and nor do I think that you need to, quote unquote, replace yourselves. Honestly, God forbid. I think that you just, I have friends not on social media. They can't take it. They can't take the politics. They can't take the pressure. They don't believe in it for their kids. Let's reach out. The woman I was sitting with the other night did not get a phone call from somebody at her synagogue, and I think that what we're seeing is that social media is great. It's supplementary, or it can be first line, but it doesn't replace that one-on-one connection, which is why I love the committee idea and the follow-up, or a 3-person focus group. We're thinking of doing this program. What do you think? An individual call. That is deepening engagement, just asking people what they think of what you might or might not do. And you'll get the best ideas of how you should actually be executing certain programs that you may not have thought of. Our education committee has been running a program where a movie is offered over a few days, and then we have a scheduled Zoom discussion. That is awesome and also original, and I love it. Another one about the movie days. People sending prepackaged fun materials in advance of a program. So great. Such great ways to connect people using a bring a table to virtual program ideas. The bring a table idea is working really, really well. I know here in this community in Boston, in the greater Boston area, and also in the communities that I'm working with, I don't know, it just seems people are really wanting to connect in this way. So we have to let them, right? We have to do everything we can. And we also, at the end of all of these programs, I know I've said it before, but we need to ask people to support us, to support the work that we do. Be lighthearted, let them know this is what we're trying to do. I think you're going to be surprised how many people will, even in small amounts, which we all know cannot be ignored at all. Your first $25 donor, it can be your, $250,000 donor in 3 years. You don't know. We don't know who is out there. What is bring a table? Do you want to do, Carol, do you want to talk about what Bring a Table is? Can you tell us?
Sure. It's similar to what we would do for a big event, a social event, where you gather a group of 10 or 12 or however 5 of your friends, and you invite them to join you on the virtual program. You can set up a Zoom beforehand and do, like, let's say it's an 8 o'clock movie night. Maybe you set up a virtual Zoom before where you all have cocktails and hors d'oeuvres together, or after where you all have dessert together. But basically you all join this program together.
Fantastic. It's really fantastic. I don't know. I'm loving I've said this in the last 2 sessions, but there's a piece of this innovation that is so, that I'm really loving and that I just don't think we would have really seen had it not been for disruption, this huge disruptor. And as the days go on, we're just seeing more and more of it. And I don't know, I think people are amazing. It's amazing to watch people adapt and create and, figure out ways to reach people, as Hetty said, who aren't being reached in traditional ways. Wait, what about this group? And figuring out the way to reach that group and to really just get everyone and see how many people we can get to participate, how wide we can cast our net right now. It's really, really incredible. Well, we are reaching the end of our time together, but as I did last week, I'm going to stay on the Zoom for anyone who maybe wants to talk one-on-one or has a question or wants to go over anything. And, I have loved being here. You have a very, very special community, and it is really a dream to be able to meet all of you in person one day soon, we'll say. And I just want to thank Seth and Wendy for being so extremely supportive and for offering this training to their community. I believe in this wholeheartedly. I believe this is how we get better and better. I'm constantly training myself, finding those opportunities for myself. And, through education, that's how we get better, all of
Kelly?
it. And so thank you, Seth and Wendy.
Kelly,
Yes.
it's Richard Levine, as chair of the
Hi,
Federation.
Richard.
Yes, let me thank you. We convene this for the Federation, for our agencies, for our synagogues. And since I've been listening
Wonderful.
carefully to you, I guess I should thank each one of the people that's attended individually, but we really don't have time for that. That'd be the rest of the morning. But the real thanks here go to all those who have attended. The program's only as good as those that have participated, but a special shout out to Wendy, who has organized this on behalf of the community and has done her normal spectacular job. But I really do hope that all of you who have participated have benefited. Our meetings may get longer if we follow all of Kelly's wonderful suggestions. Again, I just appreciate your efforts and the amazing efforts of the people who've been getting up 3 Wednesday mornings in a row at 8 o'clock.
Absolutely.
So thank you all for what you've done.
Thank you for coming and learning. Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, Kelly, and thanks to our whole community for participating, and to all of our leadership for offering this to your boards and lay leaders. We would love to be able to continue working together. So, if any of you wants to follow up and has ideas that you wish to share, or a situation that maybe you need some help with, reach out. We can certainly create a working group from these Zoom sessions and work collaboratively together, which would be wonderful. Of course, huge thanks to Kelly. It has been a delight to get to know you over the last few weeks and work with you. And lastly, we really could not have done this without the support of the Bo Biden Leadership Fund, a Jewish Fund for the Future, which allowed this program to happen. So we're very, very grateful. I'm going to jump off in case anyone wants to say something privately to Kelly, but it has been a pleasure. And please stay in touch, and we'll stay in touch with you.
Thank you all and good luck. And I actually know it's going to be a phenomenal year for your organizations. Just stronger together, you guys. Keep sharing information, keep talking to each other, keep sharing those ideas and motivate each other.
Kelly, I've got to run off. I still work to earn a living.
Jordan, what do you mean?
Another year and a half. And then I joined the ranks of the retired. And then if I get up at this hour of the morning, it will definitely be voluntary. But thank you so much. You've reinforced a lot of things that I think a lot of us have heard, but needed reinforcement on. You've brought some great ideas to the table. You've inspired some discussion. Like you said, these trying times have forced people and organizations to innovate. And we need to keep that momentum going beyond, the pandemic. So thank you for everything for the past several weeks. And you've also personalized this a lot. I think your personality just, it's like after just a few weeks, like I've known you for years.
Oh, that's so nice. I feel the same way. Well, remember, you know what? It is just, it's how you show up. It's how you look at it, right?
Yeah.
How you reframe it. And I think that it is a lot of heartbreak, but it's an exciting time as well.
Okay.
It was nice to meet you, Jordan.
Pleasure. And
thank you so much for the feedback.
Communication. Sure. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Hope to be.
This is Robin Carroll. I just want to thank you for your sessions, and you've just been amazing. I really think you're amazing.
Thank you so much, Robin. I'm so flattered. That is so nice. Thank you so much for coming to learn. And I just love this community and your openness and your willingness to engage. It's just been a wonderful experience. So thank you.
But you have a really great style, and you present the information very well. And I just want to thank you for giving us your time. I really do.
Well, thank you so much. When you do what you love, I think it's just, right? It just feels that organic thing, right?
That's great.
You don't feel like you're working. Have a wonderful day.
You
thank
too.
you. I'm here for anyone if they have any questions, if they want to chat about anything. Okay, we might be finished. Have a wonderful day, everyone.